Every morning, you need to mind hack and murder hack your brand.
Exponential growth is exponential.
Look at your calendar and burn it. What is your personal winning resume?
The number one thing that they don't teach in school is to make money. Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneur.
Produce.
I am literally a god.
Spartans!
Business
Money hacks.
Welcome to Business Money Hacks. My name is Dustin Taylor Hahn.
And I'm Bridge Stewart. And today, we're going Hollywood.
Tinseltown. Tinseltown, City of Angels, the City of Never Sleeps, the Big Apple, the Love City. I would love to go to Los Angeles and meet my swinging lover, is what they say, right?
Yeah.
That's the old song.
That's that old Frank Sinatra song. Go to L.A., meet the swinging lover. It's a great song by Frank Sinatra.
The man never dies. His songs never die.
The man never dies. It's been rumored.
Well, that's something that we can... Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he was just running off a cocktail of various steroids and HGH towards the end there, and there's rumors that he's still around roaming the basements of Las Vegas, and old Blue Eyes, they call him.
Like a coyote. So out in Vegas, just like a coyote in the desert. Old Blue Eyes just scrambling around Nevada.
Yeah, like a rat. Frank Sinatra the Rat is what they called him.
Well, they called it the Rat Pack, so I guess that applies.
Yeah. But anyway, we've got a kind of a special episode today. You know, so often we're talking about the Silicon Valley world, the tech world. We so rarely talk about the entertainment industry, the media.
The general theme of this episode is making deals. How do you make a deal? Whether you're in the Hollywood system or you're in the business world or whether you're in a relationship and you're trying to get what you need to get out of that other person. What is the... I'm just going to coin a phrase, art of the deal. In my opinion, the first real step to making a deal, you're in a room with somebody, is you want to make the opposite party feel like they want to hurt themselves when you're talking to them. How do I make the other party feel like they would want to hurt themselves?
Want to hurt themselves, feel pain, feel fear. That's what you want. You're the person that you're negotiating with to feel in any sort of thing. I mean, fear is a powerful thing. Pain, it's powerful. I mean, I often will sort of desensitize myself to both. I put myself in a chamber with needles and loud noises and things that I fear, and I feel like that makes me better at these negotiations.
I've been in your chamber. It's quite frightening. You call it the echo chamber, which I guess sort of is what you hear all the time in your head, just with pain comes pleasure, over the loudspeaker. Which is an experience.
Pain and pleasure. Yeah.
You're floating in this watery substance. It's definitely not water. It's more viscous than water.
It's more goo. Yeah, it's kind of a goo. Yeah, I mean, that's what you got to embrace, though, with any sort of negotiation, with any sort of deal-making. Embrace the goo. Embrace the fact that pleasure and pain are often one and the same. And when you're interacting with anybody, that realization of pain and pleasure, just embrace that every time you talk to anybody.
You will sit at the end of a boardroom, and then when someone comes in, the first thing you say to them is embrace the pain. Please sit.
Embrace the pain, embrace the pleasure. Welcome to this board meeting. That's usually how I'll start it off. But anyway, we should probably welcome our guest today. He's a very big, Hollywood mover and shaker.
He's a rat. He's a rat. Let's just say that. He's a rat in Hollywood.
We're going to be welcoming our guest, Jordan Hines. Thank you for joining us, Jordan.
Thank you for having me. The pleasure is all mine.
The pain is all yours as well.
Either or. Yeah. I've already learned so much in these first few moments.
So, Jordan, you work in Hollywood. You're an agent. You're a producer. You say you fit a lot of different holes. What else? What other holes do you fit?
Well, that's what's so exciting. I don't really try to fit into any of those labels. Right now, I am a packaging agent at APE. I've been there for 14 and a half months, and it is so wonderful to be able to move around as I like to do. So with Hollywood being a community based entirely on your reputation, it's a great thing to constantly be moving and not be tied down by a title or by a group of people with certain opinions that have worked with you for the last few years. It's great to just kind of uproot and shimmy around, to move into producing, to not have to be withheld, from the community of artists, and really spread my wings. So I've been doing that for the last 2.5 years now, and coming from Goldman Sachs, it's been very easy to transition.
Wow. So you moved straight from Wall Street into the entertainment industry.
That's right. Didn't have to change wardrobe and didn't have to deal with any of the complicated math that most of the agency was going through before I moved to Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we always say this, East Coast math, West Coast, I guess literature.
Ted
That's
Turner
the
said
phrase.
that. Ted Turner said the East Coast is known best for its math, and the West Coast is best known for its surfing.
Yeah, and you're good friends with Ted Turner as well, Jordan. Is that correct?
Ted and I have had a very complicated relationship, but yeah, I mean, I count him. He's on my favorites list on my iPhone.
I've seen your iPhone. You have a picture of Ted on as your lock screen. He's spitting into your mouth. It's just a really nice photo of you and Ted. So I guess you're still...
It's a pretty
close.
intimate picture, yeah.
Yeah, Ted and I have been close for many years.
One thing I often have trouble with, I mean, you are somebody who's involved with business, to gravitate towards a form that's, I suppose is artistic. I mean, Hollywood, if you can sort of call that art, I suppose, but... you were managing money beforehand. Now you're doing supposedly art.
No, it's the same thing. But no, it's important for the audience to know that's it. There is no difference between monies. So in moving from the East Coast out to the West Coast, I realized there's a lot to be made in this growing market. I was able to listen to your podcast about the blockchain, and how much money is being moved between these different entities is so exciting. Most people don't realize when they're watching something from one of us, from our studio arm of our agency, that it's actually made by people in suits. If you're scrolling through the iTunes store, you fall and say, "Oh, what is this? Oh, this is just an action movie," and it just happens to star some of our clients, and it has our logo on it. But most audience members, I hate to say it, are morons. They are laymen, Johnny Six Packs, and they will see anything that you put in front of them. And so that is far more exciting than it was with working with the smart communities in Wall Street.
You're saying that there are artists out there, Quentin Tarantino, the great artist Gwyneth Paltrow, that's two of my favorites. They're not actually the ones creating this art.
That's right.
You're behind everything. You're not.
That's right.
Because we call them auteurs, but really... You're the one doing all the work.
And, you and I have similar tastes. Quentin Tarantino and Gwyneth Paltrow are both two of my favorite artists. And to work with them hand in hand on a project is just such a special thing, where we own 99% of the project, but they're in the movie. They get to tell their friends that they're in the movie, and it looks good on a resume. So anything that we make ends up helping them in the long run, but really helps us in the short term.
You said you're just playing to the layman. And, what I've noticed, obviously, in Hollywood, it's easy to sort of put messages out there. Look, I'll be honest, I've seen the sort of Hollywood agenda that these films put out. And, I see kids these days, they watch Pixar films, and then suddenly they all think they're special.
Yeah, it's really anti-American. I don't know what it is, but it's certainly anti-American and against the values that I know made me into the moneymaker that I am today. So I can't speak to those projects. The films that we end up putting out are not as thoughtful as those ones. They are, lowest common denominator, something that we know that we can get an audience for, and that's what's really great.
So let's say I'm watching, Sliding Doors. I am thinking about, well, how did she do it?
All kinds of films are different. So let's say you're watching something like, top of my head, Shakespeare in Love. And if you're watching that and you're seeing her work, and she's also playing a male character as well, that's something that was all written into the script beforehand. But all of that is the DNA of these different creatives that then we can package, take it to Harvey Weinstein and say, yes, can we get some money from Miramax to be able to finance this film? And then he handles the Oscars.
So he's still working.
I had lunch with him yesterday.
Okay, great.
Wow. I mean, look, he's run into a little bit of trouble, obviously, these last few years. But, man, has he made some great movies. Movies that, I've enjoyed with my family and friends, and we've all just enjoyed and laughed over the years at his films. He's had some troubles, but... wow.
You're right, Bridge. I think that's what's so interesting when you're watching something like Lord of the Rings, and that's the first thing that comes up in the credits, is that Harvey Weinstein was one of the producers and the real capstones of these projects. Although he has had this controversial past, it's very, easy to look at it from afar and say, this person shouldn't be working anymore, but... he wouldn't be a great film producer if he was averse to scandal. I think that if you didn't have tough skin, you wouldn't be in Hollywood. Yesterday.
Oh yeah, and he has tough skin. No, I just wanted to talk about skin.
No, and that's in a lot of the court documents. The women have said that he has very coarse skin.
It's kind of lizardish skin, is what I've, at least in my experience, what I felt.
I look up to it from what you. Oh, you've met Harvey.
Yeah, I've passed by him in various functions and stuff, and I made it a point to sort of brush up against him and feel that lizard skin, and. Boy, is it scaly. I like it.
Then I know that when he sheds, that's an eBay purchase. People are selling Harvey Weinstein skin on eBay, which is, I've been trying to bid one up. It's at $250 at this point.
They go fast.
I'm trying to get that skin.
They go fast.
So what other skins would you say is popular right now? On that.
Really, any kind of thick skin that you can get to, because it's a bull's market here. It is something where there's so much competition and millions of people that want to get to the top of the hill, and you've got to. It's not about rubbing elbows. It's about knocking people with yours and getting as quickly as you can to the top of the hill. And you don't do that with thin skin.
No, you've got to have that thick skin. I mean, Harvey Weinstein, he's got the thick, shedding skin that the people adore. And you can't get enough of it. So many greats with the thick, shedding skin in this industry. I mean, Bryan Singer, another one. I got to say, I love House. The TV show House. I mean, he's on there. He was on there every week doing his banter with the other castmates. I mean, that's real entertainment. That's Hollywood entertainment, which I can get behind. And Bryan Singer, who created that, such a great show.
I mean, he's not alone there. Bryan Singer, when you watch something like the first X-Men, the Magneto scene is so iconic.
Oh.
And it's one of the things that got me into the film world to begin with. I saw it when I was at Goldman Sachs in the elevator, and I thought, this is something I've got to move to Hollywood for. So I watched it. This was, 2018. And I'm watching this film on my iPod Nano, and I say, this is the kind of filmmaking that I need to be making. This is the kind of artist that I need to be supporting. Move out of the way, Gwyneth Paltrow. Bryan Singer is the future.
Yeah, that's what he was hailed at in the trade mags. Get out of the way, Gwyneth Paltrow. Here comes Singer. He's coming for you.
So you mentioned that you watched movies on the iPod Nano, and I agree. I only watch films and TV on iPod Nano because I love my iPod Nano.
It's just so easy.
Yeah.
They all these different platforms, they want you to see something. What's great, at APE, we have this private screening platform where we rip and take all of these independent films and put them out onto this publicly shared platform for anyone that works at the company, which, has some copyright issues.
But you want to be liked as well around there. You're like, hey, I just got the new thing.
It's an education. Yes, so I use it obviously for cultural currency, but then also it's great to go to my nephew and say, hey, have you seen the new Avatar movie? We've got it.
Yeah.
And then send him a link. He can watch it with his friends at a slumber party, and immediately he's the coolest kid in town because his uncle is connected to Gwyneth Paltrow.
So Avatar, which is the James Cameron film, that should be watched on an iPod Nano?
That's how everybody in my building watches things. I mean, when Tony Robbins came and gave us all iPod Nanos 4 years ago as a company gift, we were able to move all of these movies onto these devices, and then that's how the majority of our films are watched. It's been great because you don't have the benefit of having nice headphones. Everything has to be watched through this filter with AirPods. So if you ever see us walking through, I mean, it's possible we're just listening to it.
Yeah.
You can just listen to the audio of this damn thing and get the idea that you need.
And that's enough to get it.
That's not just cultural currency. It's a wonderful thing as well for an education. So I can walk into a meeting and know what I'm talking about for the first time in a long time.
I gotta say, I do like the audio quality more than movie theaters on an iPod Nano. I mean, it's got that
It
tinny
sings.
it's that tinny ring to it that it's comforting. I can hear it better on the Nano.
It gives you such respect for the sound team on Gwyneth Paltrow movies.
So was Gwyneth Paltrow in Godfather? Was she in Godfather? I know
that she did the post sound on Godfather.
Okay, because I did watch The Godfather on an iPod Nano. It's a great film.
Beautiful. It's
beautifully.
And to see the big wedding all condensed into this small thing, you get the full idea of it. It's not like you're distracted. You're looking all over with the different characters. It's like, I get it. Italian wedding.
Yeah. That movie was made for the iPod Nano.
Do you read scripts? This is always a question that I've always wondered. As an agent or manager / producer, do you read the scripts that your clients give you? Because they put a lot of heart and soul into their scripts, I imagine.
They do, and God bless them. It's still such an interesting medium, and things are changing. I do, and a lot of people will outsource it to their assistants or to different script reading teams, but I do my best to read the scripts.
Wow. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't always make it through, but that's just the nature of screenwriting. You don't have an Alan Ball every 5 minutes.
Yeah, from what I understand in the industry, all you really need to do is read the first 3 pages. You get that's what I feel with movies. I watch the first 3 minutes, I get it. I know what I'm getting.
Is she in it? Is she in this movie? Oh, she's not in this, so I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And that's why we ask for the character sheet at the front. It's like reading a playbill, there's a cast of characters. So obviously anything with certain actresses in the film, I'll read. But then, and most of our floor will just read those first 3 pages, like you said, Bridge. But then there are other important aspects of screenplays, little did you know. But at 10 pages, there's supposed to be something called an inciting incident. At page 30, I think there's like another thing that happens, and then another thing that happens around 60, and if you can get to the climax and read, you can kind of parse together what the rest of the thing was.
Yeah.
And that's been a really great way to really find out what these movies are all about these days, to find out what is culturally and socially significant in the written form.
The thing I look at the beginning of any film is just is it made by Harvey Weinstein? That's a yes or no question. If yes, I watch. If no, I'm okay.
Well, you always want to support your friends.
Yeah. You want to support your friends. You want to support great filmmakers, great artists that aren't going to just toe the Hollywood line, the agenda that Hollywood puts out.
What do you think is the new trend that's going on right now in Hollywood, culturally?
Diversity is really in right now. I think it's cultural, and most people won't allow a movie to be made unless it looks like a Gap commercial. But, Harvey called and said, look, this is the way that it's working. This is the way that it has to go. The warden's coming, but that's all I can say right now. And I've bet wholeheartedly into the thing. I've gone a deep dive. I say we just make everything whatever people want it to be.
Can you explain, I've heard this phrase, the Bechdel test. Can you tell us what the Bechdel test is?
Sure. That was kind of what got me into Hollywood. I became this kind of Bechdel enthusiast, and cheat coder is what they used to call me, the Bechdel cheat coder on the floor. And the idea is, the Bechdel test is a psychological analysis from 2 psychologists about female roles in film. And it's just an analysis that breaks down every film to see if it is a pro or equal gender filmmaking style. Most notoriously, the idea is it passes the Bechdel test if there are 2 women speaking in a scene without any men and don't mention a man. So in most of the scripts that we'll write, if it doesn't pass the Bechdel test, we always make sure that one of the female characters, sometimes if there are any in the film, speak with someone at a grocery store, obviously a female person at the cashier, and have a conversation about Twix, whatever the fuck it is. It doesn't matter. So long as that scene's in there, it still passes the Bechdel test. And then you can move on with the rest of the movie.
Oh, that sounds like something else.
No one said the job was easy.
And it's not easy. It's not easy walking that tightrope, because constantly you have this audience of people around you just ready to jump on you and call you all kinds of things. That's why I had to leave Wall Street. And that's why there's such turnover in Hollywood, and people are jumping between ships, going into production, moving from the agency world, going into management, spending a little bit of time in state penitentiary, coming back into the management. Like, the whole world is changing right now because of the power that this internet fad has on people.
Well, that's what I like so much about, Bryan Singer. He just refuses to toe the line to the Twitter woke mob that is dictating these films these days. He's just like, look, I just want to make something entertaining. I want to, put an antisocial doctor on television and have him sort of curse out his patients. And that... I think people respond to that. I think people respond to House. I think people love the character of House.
I think that there is this ongoing feeling amongst the majority of the public that is growing nowadays. Having seen everything that's coming out, I think people have this burning desire that they can't say publicly that they really like Bryan Singer and his films. I mean, half of the conversations we have is about this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's all behind closed. I'm happy to talk about it here on the podcast because I think it's important, but it's just so interesting how the industry has changed and how it hasn't. So you walk out the door and you say, I hate these people. The industry has to change. Time's up. You can't be a dick to people. All of that kind of stuff. But really, not that it's, as long as it's not public or anybody's actually listening to the way that we talk about this stuff, you can just keep on doing the things you're doing.
The old saying, if nobody sees the tree that falls in the woods, then, I could cut it down and we could burn down the whole forest.
Exactly.
And we will.
If a tree falls on a female assistant, do you hear her scream?
If Kevin Spacey starts roaming around New York and saying, hey, I got a play that I'm going to put on, do you put on the play? And I say, yeah, I think he's such a great actor. I mean, again, somebody with a little bit of a troubled past, but wow, I would love to see him in movies again.
I'd love to see him on set again. And I think being in the theater is a safe space for that. I read his play, and I think it's brilliant. I think that there is a lot of new, beautiful, romantic material being made about high schools. And I think Kevin Spacey probably is the guy to do it on the stage.
So it's like a high school musical starring Kevin Spacey and Gwyneth Paltrow, directed by Bryan Singer, producer, Harvey Weinstein, and everybody is ranting and raving about this thing. And you're the executive producer. I'm very excited to see this project because I really don't have much to look forward to right now. So
Broadway is back. It's coming back. Mel is back. He's back on the stage. He is
Mel Brooks?
Gibson.
Mel Gibson back on the stage where he belongs. Yeah, I mean that sounds like a great play. I mean, throwing a couple Bechdel tests and, everybody will be fine with it.
Yeah, a couple scenes where women are ordering Twix at a CVS and then, get off the stage. Let's get to it. Bring on the boys.
Bring on Cosby.
Forget Hollywood. Let's go to Broadway. Hollywood's dead.
It's just so complicated in Hollywood. I think moving to Broadway, you're much freer. You can do whatever you want because it's only a small crowd of people that will be booing.
It sounds like art. It sounds like real art because that isn't just like towing the agenda that these people in Hollywood keep trying to push out. The media that has its, biases and wants to put out, let's get some real artists to make some stuff finally. I think you're on to something. A play, a Broadway play. Weinstein and Singer finally together.
All stars. That's how I got into this, is packaging. And that's the main thing in film these days, is how enticing can an audience be? Where if you're hearing, yes, Gwyneth is going to be playing Madame Bovary on the stage, that's one thing. She's the principal of this high school. I'm interested. But if Bryan Singer is going to be running around the audience, I'm even more interested. And Kevin Spacey's in the wings, that's a golden ticket. I mean, this is something that we live for in this industry.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's sort of like audience participate. Like, Kevin Spacey isn't even in the show. He's just roaming around the crowd. And it's sort of just like it's known that he's there and somewhere. And people get to enjoy that.
Before the show, they say, "Attention, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Spacey."
Kevin Spacey is in the
attention,
audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Spacey is in the crowd. He will be walking around during the performance.
Lights go out.
I mean, that's what I think could be so exciting. Hold on. Fuckers. Okay. That's what I think could be so exciting about a return to Broadway is if I'm in a play right before the lights go out. I can just imagine how I would feel if I was sitting in an audience right before the lights went down and someone said, Kevin Spacey is here, and he's wandering around the crowd. I know that would be additive to the experience, and I would just be able to focus on the music.
That's theater. That's Broadway, baby.
So, Jordan, you would consider moving back to New York for this project?
In a heartbeat. I mean, I'm already 18 months into this thing, and I think my time is coming up just from the looks I'm getting around the office. So yeah, I'm ready to get back and spread my wings in the Big Apple.
I'm going to be recommending that. I mean, it's two titans, Weinstein and Singer. That's like De Niro and Pacino right there. I mean, I can't wait to see them teamed up.
This was a fantastic conversation. I'm so glad that you gave us some of your time, Jordan, that we really do appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
I wanted to, just something fun, quick hits. I wanted to ask everybody what your favorite film is and why, if you'd like to add that. What's your favorite movie, Jordan?
The new, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. I got a special release screening of it. The new Amazon film called Cinderella. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but just from these early release screenings on my personal device, it's been such an enveloped experience watching this thing while walking around the garage. It's a really incredible movie with an old story that then is rebranded into this new story for a bigger audience. And I maybe it's just because I watched it this morning, but it is really something to marvel at.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd probably be pretty heavy on the Bechdel test for me. I don't know how much I'm going to get into that.
There's not enough Twix candy bars in the world to get you to watch that film.
I think my favorite movie, Fast Five, because it's about family.
I love it. I liked it. My favorite movie is Bend It Like Beckham, but Gwyneth Paltrow is deep faked onto the Indian girl.
Wow. Okay.
I haven't heard of that cut.
Somebody sent it to me, so I've been just watching that for a while. It's nice.
Would you send that to me? Is there any way that after this conversation you could send that to you? I mean, you have my email.
Yeah, I could G drive it or however it works. I'll CC a bunch of people.
We don't have to have that be on here. We can decide.
No, I mean I'll CC whoever.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, Jordan. This has been very informative. I am Bridge Stewart,
and I'm Dustin Taylor Hahn. And keep watching films on your iPad Nano.